Hello again. Now I want to turn our attention to the different techniques we can use to record a commentary. If we want to record someone's voice while they're on screen, there are several options open to us. For example, we can use the camcorder's built-in microphone, a directional microphone such as a shotgun, we could use a handheld microphone, or consider using a lavalier microphone attached to clothing. Remember though, sometimes the choice of microphone is dictated by what we can allow in the camera frame. If we are trying to record a costume drama, for example, then handheld microphones are out of the question. Using the camcorder's microphone and speaking from a distance of about 6 feet, my voice is acceptable.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
However, at a distance of 20 feet, it's verging on becoming unusable.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
The shotgun microphone at 6 feet away performs similarly to the camcorder microphone.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
And at 20 feet away, my voice still remains usable, although it's a little on the quiet side.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
However, background noises within the pickup pattern of the microphone are also starting to intrude on the dialogue, such as the light aircraft overhead. An alternative could be to use a boom pole to bring the microphone a little closer, although this involves extra equipment and possibly another colleague press-ganged into your production crew. And don't forget, when using a highly directional microphone, try and ensure it's at least pointing in the right direction. Using a handheld supercardioid microphone ensures my voice comes across incredibly clearly, because it is so close that it excludes almost all other sounds around it.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
However, we still need to be aware of sounds in the direction the microphone is pointing, the light aircraft overhead for example, and also handling noises of the microphone barrel being held. The handheld microphone also works well when dealing with extremely loud background noise, such as here alongside the A1 dual carriageway.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
The directivity and close proximity of the microphone ensures my voice stands out clearly with the majority of the background noise rejected. If we need our hands free or want a more discreet solution, we could try using a lavalier microphone attached to a lapel or other item of clothing.
And in this quieter location, the lavalier microphone performs very well indeed, regardless of the distance away from the camcorder we are. And of course, regardless of the direction we are pointing.
This is the most commonly used technique, although there are pitfalls. The microphone can often pick up the rustle of clothing it is attached to, and multiple microphones might be required if there are 2 or more people speaking. But what about using a handheld or lavalier microphone indoors when recording a commentary? Here, a handheld supercardioid captures my voice very clearly, even when there is a large amount of unwanted background noise, because the microphone is able to be positioned very closely.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
It's an ideal choice for documentary or news reporter style commentating. Similarly, the lavalier microphone is also able to capture my voice clearly due to its positioning.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
There's slightly more background sound creeping in because the lavalier has an omnidirectional pickup pattern and picks up sound from all around. There are 4 main types of microphone usage that we would normally have available to us. Our camcorders, a tripod or boom pole mounted directional microphone, a handheld directional microphone, and a lavalier microphone clipped to an item of clothing. Each type has advantages and disadvantages, and I'll run through the details now. The microphone built into our camcorder has one big advantage: you can't forget to take it with you, and it gives acceptable results in most situations we are likely to come across. However, it can't be detached from the camcorder, and therefore it's unable to get close up to many sounds we want to record, and its limited directivity often means we can't effectively isolate that sound from a distance. It's not a specialised microphone, instead it's a general purpose jack of all trades. It's ideal for general sound recording and for compact lightweight travelling. A directional microphone, such as the car dioide and shotgun microphone, mounted in a fixed position can isolate the sound we want to record by rejecting unwanted sounds from the side and rear. They can capture sounds clearly up to a reasonably long distance depending on the level of unwanted background noise on location, and because of this they are a good choice if the sight of a microphone is not wanted in the view of the camera. However, sometimes an extra pair of hands are needed to move the microphone around, and this movement can also result in unwanted handling noises. If the sound we want to record is too far away, then it can sometimes be too weak to overcome background sounds. Highly directional microphones can often be found in film and TV production, where the sight of a microphone on screen would shatter the illusion of reality, and they can also be used to record faraway sounds, if it's not possible to get close enough with any other kind of microphone, for example wildlife recording and obstructions between us and the sound source. The same kind of directional microphones, if they are handheld, can also very effectively isolate the sound we want to record by getting very close to that sound. Handheld microphones also enable the user to be mobile, especially if on location or attempting on-the-spot recordings. The microphone can also be pointed in the direction it is required and allows an interviewer to control an interview. Unfortunately, a handheld microphone needs a hand to hold it, and this again can cause handling noise issues. Holding the microphone too close can sometimes cause other problems such as enhanced heavy breathing. Handheld directional microphones are often seen in news reporter style commentating or interviewing, and their close proximity to the sound source can often be the most effective method of controlling unwanted background sounds. Lavalier microphones are often attached to an item of clothing, but their small size can also allow them to be discreetly hidden in the scene, getting up close to the sound we want to record to capture it clearly. Because they are hands-free, this allows the commentator to often look more natural on screen, and because the microphones are attached to clothing, they can follow the commentator in any direction they care to go. However, we might need one microphone attached to every person who is speaking, and they can also be susceptible to the rustling of clothing and excessive breathing noises. Because the lavalier microphone's position is fixed, it can't be moved away from any problem sound, and their typical omnidirectional response might not be able to reject unwanted background sounds. Lavalier microphones are often seen in documentary and chat show style interview situations where people are seated or static and the production crew have more control over the location's environment. Their size and different colour availability often allows them to be hidden in the scene, underneath clothing, or even in hair, assuming of course that an actor has any.
Okay, we've now spent some time investigating how to avoid the recording of unwanted background sounds, something we should always strive for as movie makers. However, sometimes this can create a problem, because we can be left with a very sparse soundtrack lacking in ambience, and not at all how we experienced it. Remember, it's not always a case of eliminating unwanted sounds, but controlling them when we need to. There's nothing to stop us recording the ambient sounds we hear when we are on location, or indeed any other everyday sounds we think might be useful to us, either for our current movie project or for a future one. Simply record a small length of non-specific general background sound any time you are on location, or indeed when something catches your ear. You can use your camcorder for this, or if you are lucky enough to own one of the new generation of handheld sound recorders, slip it into your pocket whenever you are planning a day out somewhere. Even if you don't intend making a movie about your destination, you never know what you might hear.
This is me, sitting down for 5 minutes in Clumber Park during dog walking duties, using my camcorder to record the background ambience. And this is what it sounds like. Lovely, isn't it? I can add this soundtrack to any movie project I wish, either now or later.
And this is a good way to start building a library of sounds, because everything you record can be stored on your computer for later use. Your garden, a suburban park,
open fields, just about anything. Wouldn't it be great to simply copy a background sound from your computer onto your timeline if you happen to need something? But now I want to talk a little about recording a voiceover for your movie. By that I mean an audio-only narration to accompany the visuals on screen. Everyone has their own favourite way of recording their voiceover. Some movie makers prefer to plan and edit their scripts, print them out and record in one take, as I do. Others prefer to record on the fly, whilst looking at their edited movie. There is no right or wrong way to record a voiceover, just use whichever technique you feel most comfortable with. But here are some hints and tips to help you if you want to have a go at one for the first time, or feel you might need a little help with your current setup.
Luckily for us, the recording location is usually under more of our control. Always try and record somewhere quiet at a quiet time of day by picking a room in the house that doesn't overlook a road, for example, and wait until traffic is quieter or kids aren't making any noise. If possible, record your voiceover in a small room and shut yourself away. Spare bedrooms make ideal temporary voiceover booths because they usually contain a lot of soft materials, duvets, curtains, carpets, etc. These help deaden the sound by soaking up reflections. If the room still sounds quite lively, then hang some spare blankets or large towels near the area where you are going to record. And if possible, avoid sitting in a seat that squeaks every time you breathe. Sometimes microphones can also pick up the sound of other paraphernalia in the room, a ticking clock or computer or laptop fan, for example. If this becomes a problem on your voiceover, then try and move the source of the unwanted noise or relocate to a quieter position. Also remember to switch off any other equipment in the room that might potentially cause audible or electrical noise on your recording.
Using a directional microphone will help avoid unwanted sounds from being recorded. A car diode is an ideal choice of microphone because it rejects sound from behind and helps to isolate your voice when recording from your script. Car diode microphones also sound quite natural when used close up, and for this reason they are my recommendation. If you only have a lavalier microphone in your collection, then you could use this instead, but clip it to something like a hardback book in front of you as opposed to your clothing. Be aware that because most lavalier microphones have an omnidirectional pickup pattern, they can pick up unwanted sounds from all around you in addition to your voice. Okay, now we have a quiet location and a car diode microphone, we need to look at the best way of recording our voiceover. The closer the microphone is to our mouths, the clearer our voice will be, because the sound will be less affected by reflections from the walls. However, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't recommend getting closer than about 6 inches to a microphone, otherwise we start experiencing a few problems.
Briefly, the problems we might hear are plosives. These are the loud pops sometimes heard when pronouncing the letters P and B. Something called proximity effect, which is the dramatic increase in bass or low frequencies when talking very closely into a microphone. And assorted gurgles, slurps, lip smacks and other sundry noises. Self-explanatory, really.
Luckily, plosives can be countered to a large degree by the use of a windshield. And because even a basic foam windshield can also help keep your microphone hygienic, I would always use one.
Position the microphone between 6 and 18 inches away from you and point it towards your head. A higher angle towards your eyes might be desirable if you can hear too many lip smacks or plosives when pointing the microphone straight towards your mouth. If you can listen to your recording through headphones, then it's a good idea to do so whilst you are speaking, in order to hear any unwanted sounds that you might not normally be aware of. If you can't do this, then make a simple test recording first and listen back to it to see if it sounds clear and legible. When you are ready to record, simply read through your voiceover script and record it. It doesn't matter if you make the occasional mistake, because you can always cut out sections of the dialogue when you come to edit it into your movie using your editing software. And this is something I will be looking at in detail in a later video.
Don't forget, you can also use your camcorder's microphone for recording a voiceover. The microphones fitted to camcorders have an element of directivity towards the front, and if you have nothing else to record onto, the camcorder will have to do. In fact, what you are hearing right now is my voice recorded using the camcorder in front of me. If you have recorded your voiceover on a camcorder, then you will need to import only the camcorder's audio onto your timeline, and this, along with chopping up and editing a voiceover, is something I will look at in greater detail in a later video about editing.